What's going on, everyone, and welcome to this video. Today I'm gonna walk you exactly how to hire a $3, $4, $5 an hour virtual assistant or offshore employee that goes all the way to $7 an hour so you can actually get your time back. I'll show you a step-by-step process. And I'm not just talking theory, I actually have created a complete guide over 20 pages and one mini course so you can actually follow this step by step. I've actually hired rock stars throughout the last 4 or 5 years in business, and they have all given me a high return of investment, better margins in my business, and actually given me my time back so that I don't have to work as hard, but actually become leveraged. I'm gonna show you how to find these machines in Latin America, Asia, Africa. Let's dive into this. So I'm giving you a free resource and a mini course so you can actually go through everything. And it covers from how to find them, where to find them, how to interview, how to identify the rock star, how to train them, how to onboard them, even how to pay them. It has everything you need to know so you can do it today. And I'm doing this so you don't waste time and make all the same mistakes that people do it when trying to hire the first time, or even though you have hired before. I want you to actually do it properly, find the rock star, that top performer. And look, this is no lead magnet, no webinar here. There's no $1,000 course in the back end. This is gonna be a straight value. I'm gonna teach you everything in this video. We're gonna go step by step. And I'm gonna also share the document so you actually follow through it, because I wanna teach you how to stop doing those low-level tasks or tasks that are not really what you should be doing, because you know that you need to do those high-level tasks that actually are going to grow your business. If you're doing $3, $4, $5 an hour tasks, then that means that your business is a $3 to $4 or $5 an hour business. And you equate the value of your business based on how much leverage you have. So if you're working on $5 tasks, that's the value of your business. The biggest difference between a struggling operator and a 7-figure business operator, it's ultimate leverage. Just like Naval's Almanac talk about 4 levers, here we're gonna cover the second lever, which is labor. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to leverage yourself more, to find those people, recruit those people, onboard those people, interview, do everything that you need to do in order to actually start getting leverage. I'm also gonna cover the biggest mistakes to avoid, the things that you shouldn't be doing, and the things that you should be doing. And a lot of those secrets are gonna be in this document and in this mini course. And I'm gonna also cover how to build an efficient system so you can actually just focus on closing deals as opposed to just chasing leads and doing inefficient stuff. And obviously build a scalable thing. So if you're tired of working in your business and rather you wanna work on your business, this is the exact video for you. If you want to become a true CEO, let's dive into this. I'm gonna walk you through this. And before I forget, if you don't know who I am, my name is Esteban Andrade. I'm the co-founder of Remote Latinos. We've hired over 1,500 people in the last few years, and I've helped hundreds of real estate investors and wholesalers to scale their business by systemizing their business, getting more leads, and building remote teams. And I've been running a remote business since 2020, and I've successfully scaled it to over $250,000 per month. And my other business, Remote Latinos, is a 7-figure recruitment company. So I hope that whatever it is that I have done teaches you something so you can actually start implementing it today. All right, so now that we are going to cover how to recruit a rockstar virtual assistant or an offshore employee for setting appointments and closing deals, I want you to know this is applicable in many different industries, sectors, markets. And then this resource, ultimately, what I want you to use it for is to understand this step-by-step workflow of how this ultimately will work for your business and how to hire a rockstar virtual assistant in any industry. But for now, I'm going to show you how to do a wholesaling real estate virtual assistant. So when you follow these instructions, you'll get to know how to ultimately find someone that is $3 an hour. Now, there's a caveat. When you're trying to find someone that is $3 an hour, you can do that for sure. For sure, you can find people like that. But you're going to find that these people ultimately have less experience. Their English is not as great. And ultimately, these people are more like reactive, not proactive. You have to really make sure that you have everything in line so that they produce. as opposed to actually taking leadership and ownership, because you know the saying, you get what you pay for, right? So you're better off finding $5 to $7 virtual assistants or offshore talent, right? So there's a big difference between just a regular virtual assistant. A regular virtual assistant is someone that does a lot. It's a generalist. Maybe it does a lot of admin stuff. You can definitely find it for $3, $4 an hour in the Philippines. But when you're actually going to go to a more high quality country or time zone, for example, Latin America or even Africa itself, you're going to have to actually pay more to these people. Now, you're going to be able to also find Asian, really top quality people, but it's harder to find that as opposed to LATAM or even Africa. Now, here's the biggest thing about this. In LATAM, you go for people that they went out of their way to learn English, and they're usually professionals. They have degrees, and this virtual assistant thing is not like a common thing. As opposed to Asia, the virtual assistant world, the culture is so common. So what you're going to find with Latin America is that whoever is willing to do a VA job, then these people are more qualified. They probably are engineers, they're lawyers, they went to school, they just want higher paid, because you're going to allow them to get more money, right? So for example, you're going to be able to pay them from 50 to even 100% more than what they would earn in their own country, right? More payment than what they would earn, okay? So this is a huge win for them. At the same time, you're going to be able to save 70-80% of your payroll, as if you were to find the same type of role in the United States or Canada, wherever you are. So Latin American people, they differentiate by ultimately being able to do higher level things. And they usually come in a more of a higher quality. They're in the same time zone as us. And then these people will usually cost more for sure. So one of the few things that we want to make sure that we do is that we choose the location wisely. So for example, Africa, we have Egyptians, we have Nigerians, we have all these individuals that are all costing more because they're higher quality. Asian, such as Philippines or even India or different type of locations, you have to figure out, you have to do more due diligence in terms of finding the right talent. So first thing, what should you outsource? There's several roles that you can actually do whenever you're leveraging virtual assistants or remote talent from across the globe. Lead generation is one. You should absolutely just outsource your lead generation. So anything that has to do, for example, uh, cold calling is necessary, absolutely necessary to generate leads and to get your business off the ground most of the time, especially a wholesaler, investor that wants to get leads, and then you just call in a list. But there's a lot of people that are just experienced and they already have that grit, they already have that thick skin, and they don't really care about cold calling because they're so used to it. And you can just pay them really well so that your cold calling system actually gives you a high levels of return of investment. Okay, so SMS marketing too. You should have SOPs. For example, whenever you're leveraging SMS tools for doing SMS blasting. I know that it has gone away. The last few years, it hasn't become as effective. And also email. All right, cold email. A lot of people are not using cold email, but I believe it's a good way whenever you skip trace people to also actually do cold email. And there's a lot of experienced virtual systems that do this. Other things would be skip tracing, data management, make sure that you have SOPs, inbound lead follow-ups, CRM management, and lead organization. There's a lot of highly experienced people that do inbound lead follow-ups. So for example, I call these individuals inside sales agents, right? And we use inside sales agents in order to follow up with paper leads. So digital marketing leads that are calling in from direct mail, whatever it is, marketing channel, and these people are just calling and they're savage on the phone. They have experience in real estate. CRM management and lead organization, right? These people may come in with different CRM experience. So we could be talking here about Go High Level or investor reviews or Podio. Like they comment in here experience with that. Appointment setting for acquisitions, that's important. So as a lead management, for example, lead manager is the role that you should be looking at, or even following up with leads, so follow-up specialist. And these people are highly experienced, or it could be very trained on your specific way of ultimately talking to sellers and doing a discovery call and setting up your acquisition managers for success. The other one is social media engagement for seller outreach, for example. You can also do agent outreach, as a matter of fact. So, lead generation, it could include agent outreach as well. All right. Remember, I'm going to give you this specific document so you can actually have it for yourself. All right. So, the other one is automation and workflow build out. There's a lot of experience, virtual assistants and offshore remote talent that they know how to do go high level and build out workflow automations. They know how to do Zapier. They know how to do Make.com and so on. And another thing that our clients actually have used, and we also use virtual assistants and offshore talent, is video editing and graphic design. So, for example, great part of actually all of our videos are actually edited by a remote team members that we currently have in Mexico, Ecuador, and Colombia. Acquisitions, closing deals, mainly for B2C. So I found that people in Latin America, because the level of sales training and methodologies and skills, if they're not working for an American company, they're just getting used to the B2B. So for B2C though, it is effective. You'll find people that know how to close deals in terms of B2C, so talking business to customers, not B2B, but B2C. All right, you're going to be able to find, we call them VA closers or just closers from offshore. Okay, and the other one, a big one, is how well we build our tech stack and our software. Is the software development. So there's a huge amount of talent in LATAM for full stack development, front end, back end, UX, UI, QA, and all of this. All right. All right. Let's dive into what you should not outsource, at least until you're more established, because it requires a little bit more training, onboarding processes, playbooks, SOPs. So negotiating with sellers, unless they're highly trained, I have found a lot of highly trained Egyptians, because Egyptians are very used to the American real estate investing culture. So there's a lot of BPOs or call centers from Egypt that are just trained, right? They are experienced, they're used to it. Even though Latin Americans have the skills, it's not as common. So in order for it to catch up, it's going to take some time, right? I know a friend of mine, he works with only Colombians. His name is Scott Morse from Lamasu Media, and he lives in a city called Pereira, and he trains all these people to be highly effective cold callers or closers. And these guys are unreal. They're machines, but it requires training. So closing deals, especially for B2B, that is something that I wouldn't really recommend unless you have these people highly trained. You have a system where you know it's going to take time to ramp them up. And managing your entire marketing strategy, I haven't found, or haven't really been super successful in someone bringing in like a CMO type or something like that, or just a marketing manager. However, I do know that they exist. I even follow different marketing, especially digital marketing agencies and so on from Latam, Mexico, and Colombia. And I know that there is talent out there, just haven't been able to find someone that speaks good English and does it at the same time. There's this marketer and marketing agency, for example, in Colombia called Nero Public from Marketing Julian, that's his name. And he would be great, but doesn't really, like, his team doesn't really speak English as well. And building relationships with key partners, so doing B2B, right? That's something you shouldn't really be outsourcing. When should you outsource it? So outsourcing real estate wholesaling tasks, or as a whole, like even if you're running an agency, or it doesn't matter, when you're too busy talking to motivated sellers and need support to scale. I've always been a big fan of outsourcing whenever you get to your 70 to 80% capacity. Not waiting too long until you're actually choked up, because otherwise it's going to take a lot of time for you to train, ramp them up, and give them the necessary time. Instead, be prepared. Remember that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So you have to be prepared whenever you're 70-80% actually choked up. All right, so what's the first step? All right, let's go over the first step. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to a job board where you can find these people. And there's many different job boards. I'm going to teach you the one where we're currently using, which is hireremotelatinos.com, or whenever you go to remotelatinos.com and you're going to find a job board or candidate board to attract virtual assistants or offshore talent. I'm going to show you exactly how that's going to be done. However, I do want to give you free tips on different job boards, other job boards that you can actually create accounts and then do the step-by-step process that we're going to be doing inside of the Remote Latinos marketplace. So other job boards include job boards like Torre.ai, Bird.ai, OnlineJobs.ph, Upwork.com. You also may, want to test out just going straight in LinkedIn, right? But these are the top 3 that you want to really focus on. These are really, really good candidate boards. You're going to be able to find candidate boards. So you post a job, and then ultimately you're also going to be able to reach out to people. OnlineJobs.ph is for Asians. Torre is for worldwide. Upwork would be from turning freelancers to full-time. I know that Upwork now also has a feature of being able to hire people full-time, but they're going to charge you 10% of that person. So with Upwork, you can 100% find a freelancer, turn them into full-time after they work with you, and you can even pay them within that platform. But let's dive into ultimately how to do this with Remote Latinos. So the first thing that we got to be able to do is to first, and let me put this as the first option right here, is we got to go to app.remotelatinos.com. Type in app.remotelatinos.com and you're going to find browse candidates. So you're going to be able to find candidates from LATAM, right in here. You're also going to be able to find the jobs right in here. See that? And the first thing you want to do is first you want to sign up. So first sign up, come in here, click on sign up, and I want to hire. So you can do this with any email and choose your password, or you can sign up with your Google or LinkedIn account. So I'm going to do this right in here real fast, and I'm going to create my profile real quick. I have signed up for free, and once you do that and you obviously verify your email, you're going to have a dashboard where it's going to tell you exactly how to get started. So what's the first step that ultimately we want to do, right? So the first step is we want to be able to create a job offer. And here I have a sample. And here's the thing about job offer, guys. If we don't have a job posted, what are we going to attract our virtual assistants, the ones or these people that we want to reach out to us, right? Or to apply? What are we going to attract them? It's kind of like trying to create trying to generate motivated sellers or leads, but you have no offer, you have no ad. So that is going to be our ad, okay? So the first thing in order for this to happen in this platform is you're going to create a company. And you haven't thought about this, but maybe these candidates want to work for a great company. They don't want to work for whatever company. So having a good company created in whatever platforms you actually choose to build something is very important. So I'm going to quickly create here my company, put in effort, put as much as possible as you can, copy paste from your website, get your help from ChatGPT, whatever. We're going to create a company. I'm going to put my mission, vision, and core values. I'm going to cover that. If you don't have that, make sure that you do get that and get that exercise done because otherwise you're not going to attract A players. Let me just quickly do that. So now that we have the company created, I created here Rise Up Real Estate, which is one of the companies that we have. Now I'm going to post a job. So let's get back to this document right here. So creating the job offer. It's important to have a headline, something that is going to attract these people. Remember that these people will see many different options. And if they see that there's an option that is not too enticing or an offer that is not too enticing, why would they apply? We're trying to attract A players, and A players get attracted to great offers. Alex Ramosi talks about this all the time. You need a great offer, an irresistible offer for someone to get attracted. I mean, candidates, it's a little bit easier than getting a customer, but you still, regardless, have to put in effort. So, for example, here, virtual assistant needed for real estate wholesaling, cold calling, and lead management. And then part of the offer is the description of what we're going to do about it, okay? How we're going to go about it. So, all right. So let's post the job right in here. We're going to choose the title and let's copy paste this right here. There you go. Okay. Job title, industry. Let's put virtual assistant. Or you could also do real estate. Let's just do real estate. Region. We want to post from people from LATAM, and let's go see. We can do worldwide. No, region. Let's do LATAM. All right. Let's choose every potential country whatsoever. All right. Or we can just do worldwide, right? So let's see if by putting the description right here that we have. So let's just go here for the job description. Boom, boom, boom. Copy paste this in here. Now, don't get limited to this template, guys. Remember that this is just something that I'm giving you. Notice that I want to be able to put details in here that whenever they read it, we will notice whether they put an effort or not. It's very important that you put details. For example, the last thing that we put in here, the keyword motivated in your application, so we know that you read the entire full job description. If you have a job, for example, a job video, it's highly recommended that you put it in here, especially for higher level roles, let's say leader roles or things like that. But other than that, if you don't have a job video explaining the job details, that's completely okay. However, if you do want to stand out in this crowded market of so many job posts that are out there, put a video. This will help you stand out over your competitors. All right. So notice that this job description talks about excellent English, written and spoken, cold calling experience. So we want experience. And sometimes you may want to go and have a deeper experience. So for example, cold calling experience of 3 years plus, right? So you can always modify it like that. lead tracking, CRM knowledge, strong attention to detail, time management. So you want to be as specific as possible as you want to. Obviously, let's just say if you're accepting 2 years of experience in cold calling, that's okay too. You're gonna see people that are within a year and a half experience apply, or just keep it at 3 years of experience for people that have a lot of experience, and then you may have to pay more to those people a little bit, maybe if it's like 30 cents, $1, $2 more. All right, technical requirements. Obviously, they have to have their own laptop, either Windows or Mac, fast and reliable internet connection. Huge thing is that you gotta be able to make sure that they send you proof. Usually that proof is on Loom. It's a Loom video about their internet connection. You can just go to internetspeed.net or speed test, something like that, speedtest.net. Let me just quickly here, speed test. So speedtest.net right there. And they can show exactly how fast their internet is for them. And for the processor, they can just go to show system details, right? So for example, here in my Mac, I can go here and check on more info and ultimately check on my processor and all this stuff right in here. And the same thing for Windows, you want proof, usually on a Loom video. I'm going to explain to you how that's going to go. All right, so skills required. We're gonna be putting the skills specifically on that job post. I'm going to tell you exactly how, because you got to be able to choose those skills so that they actually just match up. So right in here, job responsibilities. You can be as detailed as possible too, depending on what you want them to do every single day. And the perfect job description would have this. Would have explaining the role. So that's the first R. Explaining the responsibilities, right? Right in here, explaining the requirements, and then ultimately how are they going to be successful? So the results, the 4 R's. You should be putting the 4 R's. If you're putting the 4 R's in your job description, that's a very strong foundation for a job description. All right. Here you don't have to put length as more than 6 months. You can just put NA or indefinite. Just because if you want to work with someone full time and you want to attract them for full time, then you don't want them to think that it's just like a contract basis. And so on, you definitely want an expert level. So let's go here, fill this out. Potentially, you want to be able to put in here the skills that are needed right in here, right below. And if you want to go just custom about it, depending on how you like to hire. All right, skills. So I'm gonna put in here the skills. Let's see if I can copy paste this list, and I'll be able to put in here. Nope. So let me just copy paste one by one. So cold calling, right in here, boom, right in there. The more specific you are, the better match. Because usually platforms like this one, you're going to be able to match up with someone based on their algorithm. So here, let me put enter right there. Appointment setting, right in there. CRM management. Let me just finish this up. And platforms like this ones will also recommend you skills based on what other people have put. So for example, real estate, and then you can find maybe, for example, sales. Let's just say outbound sales or just sales itself. And you're going to be able to put the skills in here so that it actually encourages the algorithm to actually find you the best people, right? And then use recommendations. And this happens in a lot of different job boards, candidate boards. If they're built correctly, they're going to find you someone. The language right here. So obviously we want English. We want expert level not necessarily native, but definitely expert level. Right in here. All right, select years of experience. So it's within 2 to 3 years, right? We talked about that. So that's what we're accepting. Continue. Job type. You guys want either full-time or part-time. If you guys are going for full-time, just put in full-time. If you guys are going for part-time, just understand that they might ask you for a little bit more money per hour just because they're not guaranteed a full-time job. I personally like hiring, lead generation type of roles full-time, because lead generation is just what you're gonna need in order to actually close deals. Like, you just need more leads, right? So I don't want to just do part-time lead generation. I want to be able to actually scale my business, so full-time. And let's just put a some sort of monthly rate or hourly rate. So hourly rate, I want to put, let's start with something that actually makes sense for a lot of these people. Again, we're in LATAM, right? So we want to be able to put in here $5 to $7 at least. If you want to attract better people, ultimately, it's also important to go to 8. So these people that are within the higher ranges be more attracted to your job post. Now, if you want to go back to your job post and then ultimately say, hey, there's commissions included. So growing real estate, blah, 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 right in here. And then skills required. And then compensation. You can just put in here, for example, $5 to $8 per hour base, plus commission percentage based on closed deals. And you can always be as transparent as possible. So for example, if you're going to give them 1 or 2% of the deal, say that, let's say, for example, 2% or 1%, let's just say 1 to 3% of the deal. And be as specific as possible. So for example, your deals are like, $20,000 average deal size. Or let's say $10,000 average deal size. Be as specific as possible. Salespeople like to understand those numbers and so on, or you're gonna, have to tell them in the interview process. All right. So continue. 5 to 8. And here's this part where you're gonna be able to ask them specific questions or extra questions. Make them ultimately apply with the different job, video, or so on. All right. Choose. Tell me about your relevant experience. What motivated you to apply? How do you manage your time? What software do you do? How do you approach working in a team? All right. And what steps you take to stay updated about industry trends? All right. And here is the preview. You may want to be able to either to save it as a template or so on. And then let's just choose a company. I'm choosing my company right here, so it doesn't just publish with like a random stuff. And as you know, it's going to have 0 applicants right away. But then once I publish it, it should send out either potential email to people or so on. It should alert people about this specific skip tracing is not. All right, let's just say there was an error in their skip tracing. Oh, interesting. Where did that go? Let me fix this. Did that skill that, was causing an error, but anyways. All right, I'm gonna choose here the company once again, make it public. You can always edit it beforehand. Make sure that you also have compensation, that you explain the compensation, how everything's gonna go. Maybe some other benefits. Play with ChatGPT, play with this job description. You're gonna be able to have custom questions in the future. But all right, so let's just publish this. We need a few custom skills. Not sure why, but anyways, Maybe if you see a glitch, just report it to whoever needs to be reported from appropriate platforms. All right, so job post was successfully posted and saved right here. So you can always check out your job post and so on in here. So I know that a lot of different platforms will ultimately recommend you to candidates. So in here, at some point, it's going to start recommending you candidates. Leave it, give it a few minutes, a couple hours, where it's going to be start recommending you candidates. And then another thing that you can absolutely do is share this to whoever it is in social media. Then go to, let's say, candidates and start ultimately reaching out to people, right? So right in here, you're going to be able to see this here. I know that the free version of this platform right here allows candidates to apply to your job. But in order to actually invite people to a job, let's just say here, for example, if we go to all candidates, we can always, keep all candidates in here. Let's just say all categories. Let's keep it whatever categories, region, doesn't matter. Hourly, let's just say 5 minimum, and then maximum, let's just say 10, just to have a good range. English language, let me just make sure that I have English as expert or English as native. And I want to do that type of filter. So let me just apply that. Okay, so I want to do cold calling, right? All right, so let's just say if I find this person right in here, Edgar, lead generation specialist from Venezuela, he's available now. You see $9. Pedro, $7. All right, bilingual, 23 years old, United States citizen, currently based in Colombia. That's interesting. Lucas, Carlota, right here. All right, let me just do another keyword, cold caller, cold. Let's just say cold caller. Okay, Steffi. All right, let me just say Lucas. All right, so this is the video. Let's see what this guy looks like. All right, so let's see if Andres doesn't have video, but 3+ experience, 3+ years experience in real estate lead generation, cold calling, team leadership. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a video, so I cannot really judge him based on that. I will have to invite him to a job and potentially, just talk to him or something. You can chat with people here, right? So, all right, let's say appointment setter from Venezuela. All right, so he is a virtual assistant. Let me just take a look at this Pedro guy. All right, let's see. Stephanie doesn't have video, but let me just go back to cold calling because I saw. And also might be that this filter right here on English might be because I want to see if there's any native speakers, right? So cold calling, all right here, sales development rep, all right. So 3+ years of experience. All right, so he has a little bit of accent, but his English is good. Seems like he has experience right in here. Laura. All right, so that one is that one. Generation specialist. Let's see, Edgar. All right, let's see if I can invite him. Oh, I have to upgrade my plan. Again, guys, you guys can actually do this on your own, but I know that monthly it's like $97 and so on, or premium is for more access, $297. Anyways, I want to make sure that you guys can actually get the most out of it. So you guys will be able to actually just explore different options by yourself. Well, I know that I told you guys that at some point, whenever you post a job, you're going to be able to see recommendations here. So I know that now there is a few recommendations. So for example, Kevin, this guy, 90% match. Stephanie seems like from the Philippines, 90%, 90% match. For some reason, we said only Latin. But anyways, let's just take a look at Kevin, for example. All right, Kevin, let's see. All right. So seems like you have experience. And let's just say Stephanie. Oh, no video. Oh, bummer. And Gracie. Let's just see Gracie. So, what we're gonna do is the next thing. All right. So after we have spoken with different people, we ultimately are going to just create an interview event in Calendly. So I'm going to show you how it looks like if you were to speak with different people using this platform. So I'm going to invite Kevin and a few other people that I saw. So I'm going to go here. Well, Kevin is someone that I want to just talk to. So invite him to the job right in here. Boom. Continue. I have sent him an invitation, and you're going to notice that in the chat area, I'm going to be able to talk with him. Obviously, he needs to ultimately apply to it, ultimately needs to accept it, acknowledge it in order for him to actually, um, talk to me through chat. What I want to do is I just want to go here and then just ultimately invite as many people as possible that are recommended. So let's just say invite this person. I want to invite that person too. I want to invite this person from Egypt, Gracie. I want to invite this person because all of these are recommended to me. So I'm inviting them right in here. Invite, 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 and see and just sort out. First, I would want to go to what the algorithm tells me and then ultimately AI tells me. At some point, I know that there's going to be a chatbot that's going to help you make that better decision. But here, it gives you just at least 13 choices here from what it seems right in here. All right, so let's just go here, chat with this user. So Kevin, um, hey Kevin, I am interested in doing an interview with you. Are you available? Let's just say, for example, this week. And then you can ultimately just send them the Calendly option, or the calendar option, just to make sure that this works. Obviously right now it's very late at night. I'm showing you this very, very late at night. But I want to do the same thing for every single one of these people that have been recommended. So maybe this one that is in the Philippines is not as bad. So let me just copy paste this right in here. You can always shape up the messages however you want, but you want to be able to create an interview event in Calendly, or if you have a CRM. I know that a lot of different platforms have their own calendar event calendar type of tool or feature, but you want to be able to create a Calendly event titled VA interview for wholesaling or cold caller. Make it 60 minutes, where you're essentially what you want to do in this interview. We're going to go over this is we want to make sure just go over cultural fit, and we want to go to skills fit. But before we get into the interview, I highly suggest that you send them a skills type of questions. So it'd be like, hey, go over this script, send yourself a Loom video going over this script, kind of doing like a self role play or some sort of shadow boxing, something like that, and ensure that availability is early in the morning or late in the evening to accommodate different time zones. Ultimately, set up a Zoom meeting. Calendly allows you to integrate with Zoom, and I know that different platforms also allow you to do Zoom integration as well. All right. So you want to invite these people, step 4, invite these people for an interview. It is very, very common that people are not going to see this job right away. So you got to wait at least 1 or 2 weeks before responding to applicants and just having full conversations with applicants. So just make sure that you are attentive. You should be getting some sort of emails about whenever you're applying or people are applying, or whenever these people also get emails. And then you should be able to review applicants and filter candidates. Reject applications with poor effort in answering screening questions, no real lead generation experience, for example, or if they do have experience, let's just say doing cold calling for roofing, then that's a very, very similar horizontal role that you can actually do, and just consider it. And then shortlist the best applicants for interviews. I know that, for example, this platform right here allows you to shortlist people right in here. So let's just go to the jobs. Let me go here. So there's going to be applicants at some point. The recommended people are going to be at some point. And then you can shortlist individuals, right? And then just make sure that you can always edit, by the way, but just make sure that you ultimately shortlist individuals. There's going to be a way for you to keep it organized. There's a spreadsheet that you can also keep up. You can create a spreadsheet so you can keep track of the applicants right in here. Or platforms like this one ultimately help you with the shortlist and help you get organized. So what you're going to see is you're going to start seeing applications like this one's, notifications and emails of people that have been applying to your job. So here, for example, here we have a few ones. So this one right here, application is coming from one guy that applied to my lead manager role that I actually have a job for this. So right in here, I have Omar applying. He put a Loom video. The people that don't put videos make it so much harder for themselves. Look at this. Instant rep from Venezuela. That's good. Let me see in jobs the recommendations, for example, right in here. So I have right here applicants, and I also have recommended people, obviously. So I have applicants about 28 right in here. If you're interested, you can keep, put them in the hiring process, go to hiring process, and so on. If you're not interested, you can just dismiss applicant. Here, there's a few recommended. Again, I'm gonna just invite people that are recommended by the system, just because there is a higher likelihood that these people could be, based on the profile, could be the best ones. And here in the shortlist, for example, when I send them to the hiring process, you're going to be able to actually just organize them yourself. So here, for example, let me just go here, and based on these applicants, I'm going to start sending people. So this guy is a sales manager, Omar. That's interesting. Let's see his. A little bit of an accent, but let's say, all right, so let's send him in here. So I want to approach him. So get in here, chat with applicant. All right. Hey, Omar. All right. It's right now offline, but I know that I'm going to be able to. And then you can also send them to, let's say, approached right here, once you actually send it to approached. Or if you have interviewed them, you can send it to interviewed. If you select the person, you can send it to selected. Or if you hire them, put them in here, just to keep yourself organized. If you dismiss them, make sure you send them to dismissed, just because you don't want to just talk with people that are not really qualified to be in your job. It always is not a good idea to keep people within where you don't want. So here, for example, it's an approach. I'll put them into approach. Once you start putting in cards in here, so let's just say here, based on these applicants, I want to send out to the top people based on match. All right, so go to hiring process right in here. All right, so I send that person to the hiring process. It should take maybe a second or two to make sure that the shortlist is completed. So it's reviewed in here. So I want to approach him. So right in here. So that means that I want to send him a chat. So Alberto, right in here. I have, I forgot what is it that I sent. Hey Alberto, I'm interested. All right. This to every single person that I have applied. Just check the best ones. Once you have approached them and then interviewed, start organizing yourself in here. All right. So for the next step, so shortlist the best applicants. Then there is an interview invitation template. So send them this, for example, whenever you are, you send them a skill test. They're responding well. Maybe they send you like a voice note or a good video explaining why they are the best candidate. And there's a good rule of thumb. If they're putting the effort and then just doing these applications that are, taking some time, going through friction, and then doing all of this effort, like there's a higher likelihood that this person is gonna actually put an effort into their job too. Just because people are applying doesn't mean that they're going to be good. So make them go through while you invite them for an interview, this is a bonus. All right. So right in here. All right. Let's write down this bonus. Ask them to send a Loom video talking about why they are the best candidate for any role, for this role, and then why they are a winner, their achievements, and talk more about themselves. And then I'm gonna put you like a little bit of a checklist of what to ask, but essentially why they're a winner, right? What are their accomplishments? What's their experience ultimately? What's their philosophy of sales? How do they ultimately handle hard people or hard conversations, what's their experience specifically in cold calling, what's their approach to cold calling, what's their approach to objections. You can ask them all these questions, and then ultimately in one Loom video, they can answer. And also remember to ask about internet speed test, and then computer system speed, right? So ask them these questions, and then just have a gauge of like their sales philosophy and how they handle objections, and then ask them to give you examples and so on, right? Then once you've noticed that, okay, this person might be a good one, let's just go through an interview. And the interview itself has a process. So you copy paste this, congrats, you're moving to the next stage. Hey, name, great news, you've made it through the next stage in our hiring process. I'd like to invite you to a 30 to 45 minute Zoom interview, but you book it for 60. I schedule an interview here, so go, copy paste the calendar link. Just so you know, we plan to make our final hiring decision on a specific date and so on, your name. All right. So make sure to keep track of these people within the platform, either a spreadsheet. You create a spreadsheet, very, very easy. So, all right, what's the name? What's the name of the individual? What's the link that they send? The link of the website that you have, and then start putting it every single option that you have, right? And then just put a ranking system all the way on the right, like from 1 to 10, what do you think that this individual is? Start ranking people up like that, and just keep track of candidates. And whether they put a lot of effort or not, you can always, go as detailed as possible, like where is this person located or the time zone and so on. Step 6, you're gonna interview the virtual assistants, and after this, you're gonna select the top candidates and interview them. Use the structured interview questions to assess skills. And let's dive into this, because this is a very important thing that you need to actually learn how to do. All right, so let's do this. This is the interview guide for hiring a virtual assistant. Here I put in here a sales person screening interview process. So there's a framework in here. I highly recommend that you read the book Who. And there is the playbook on hiring a top virtual assistant, ultimately pre-interview preparation, best practices for interviews, interview questions, behavioral questions, assessing responses, post-interview evaluation, next steps, and hiring process. So let's go over this interview guide. So this resource is designed to help you conduct more effective and insightful interviews with virtual assistants or remote staff. And by following these guidelines, best practices, this is what I've learned over the years. You'll be able to identify the best candidates who align with your needs, your work style, your expectations, culture fit, skills fit. All right. So the best practices for interviewing are the following. 1, make sure that you take down notes properly. So have your candidate tracking spreadsheet open during each interview, so that you take down notes in real time and you're able to compare responses as well with the previous people that you've done or so on. Just keep yourself organized, customize the spreadsheet based on the specific questions that you choose from this ultimate guide. Clearly define the qualities you're looking for in a virtual assistant or a remote staff. So these qualities are ultimately based on your core values. If you don't have core values, there's a mini course that I teach in here, and also there's going to be one in the description below about how the best way to define your core values, which is an exercise that you do with yourself, and then you also do it with your team, where your team and you define what the core values of the company is. And this is a beautiful thing to do, because this is what you're going to breathe every single day. You're going to live and breathe this every single day. So, for example, if punctuality is important, observe whether they join the interview on time. If adaptability is key, assess how they handle unexpected questions. Just like how whenever you're looking for your next future partner or wife, write down exactly what are those non-negotiables and things that you actually want and desire from an individual, right? Write it down. Don't make the interview too easy. So a lot of people, they just try to make it too easy. You have to make it as challenging as possible, but conversational as possible. You don't want to be a robot or like, ultimately come off as like an asshole, but avoiding surface level answers is ultimately important. So asking challenging and situational questions that make them think instead of just directly asking questions about weaknesses, for example, use questions that naturally bring them to light. So this would be like, hey, what are a few things that you're still working on right now? What are the few challenges that you've seen in the last year that you need to work on to get to the next level? For example, things like that. Um, focus on focus more on how they answer than what they ultimately say. This is very important because it could go many ways. Like they could be reading, they could be memorizing something. They could, I don't know, they're nervous or something. And a candidate's tone level of confidence, especially in sales, is important. So the way they structure their response can reveal more than just the content on their answers. So ultimately, if they know how to communicate, especially for sales roles like appointment setting, cold calling, closer, whatever, this is very, very important. Customer facing roles, it is extremely important, right? Pay attention to nonverbal cues. So listen to for hesitation, sight, or other vocal cues when they encounter a question they were not expecting, and see how they ultimately react, because this is very important for cold calling, for instance. And these small reactions can indicate uncertainty or discomfort, or can they just indicate some sort of flaw or some sort of weakness on that individual? You may want to be able to drill down that weakness, call it out during the interview. All right. Make sure that you're getting direct answers. So if they provide vague responses, you got to be able to dig deeper, follow up with like, can you give me a more specific example on this? Can you tell me more about that? What do you mean by that? Whatever. It sounds like you hesitated there. What's the reason? What happened? What's going on, right? This may feel uncomfortable at first, but it often leads to valuable insights. And remember, you guys are trying to get to know each other right now, right? Like there shouldn't be too much pressure from one side where this person is ultimately, you're gonna make this person sweat, and then the interview is not going to be productive. It needs to be like human to human type of thing. Obviously, you do have a high authority. You're going to be able to pay that individual, but you're going to be able to relate as a human, right? Avoid asking what are your weaknesses. So instead, uncover weaknesses by asking what tasks do you enjoy the least, or what part of the role would you be happy to ultimately delegate or just give it to someone else. Ask about past experiences with managers and teams. All right. So this will ultimately talk about what are their likes and dislikes. So tell me about the best boss you ever had, what made them great. Now tell me about a boss that you didn't really work well with, and what was the issue. What is your favorite and least favorite part of the previous job that you had? These questions help determine if their work style aligns with your expectations. Or you can always ask, questions. I call them core value based questions, and they're actually located in here. All right, so core value based questions. So here, for example, we have obsessed with client and team. So tell me about a time that a colleague needed a lot of help and there was a few people available to help, including you, because you know more than the topic. However, you were very busy with your job. What do you do to help this colleague? Or compete with your own potential? Like, tell me something you've taught yourself in the last 6 months. How do you learn? What was the last thing that you've learned? What was the last podcast or course that you listened to? Why? When was the last time that you invested in yourself, right? That you paid for something? And tell me more about that. Like, you want to dig into that, right? So do a list of your core values and create questions around those. That is going to help you really identify whether this person is going to be a good fit for your company. You can also ask ChatGPT to help you with this, all right? Keep conversations casual but structured. So when candidates feel at ease, they are more likely to be authentic and transparent with their answers, right? So again, remember, this is not like a high pressure thing that you got to do. Don't be an asshole, all right? So here's a few interview questions and kind of like a flow. Again, it's going to depend. Like, I like this framework right here. You start with opening connection, initiative, and energy, excitement, core values, hungriness. You want to be able to go through this framework as an employer. You want to be able to set the frame, find fit, understand their process. So, for example, their experience, their mindset, their skill set. Ask them curveball questions, so questions they don't expect, because they want to be able. They're gonna be preparing. Just a good guy, a good person is gonna prepare for the interview. Transition to skilled questions and test interview. Maybe another skill test if it is like you're unsure if it's a person that it's a role that is very important for you, and then ultimately send offer. But let's go over here, right in here. All right, so interview questions. So select 5 to 10 based on what you want to assess and how long you want the interview to last. I like to make it 30 minutes to 45 minutes and then potentially 15 minutes extra to kind of give an offer. However, it could also go into 2 type of meetings if it's a role that is important to you, for example, a lead manager, where it could go from first interview could be the cultural questions, and then the second interview could be skills, and then maybe they're ready to do a test, and we're going to cover that too. All right, opening the interview. Hey, candidate name, this is Esteban from Remote Latinos and Hassle Media. How are you doing today? It's good. Or maybe, chit chat, or, break the ice or something. So if you're ready, let's jump right into it and let's get started. All right, so general experience and work style. What kind of work are you currently doing? Why are you looking for a new position? Just tell me more about what's going on with you, kind of what's going on with you. Can you give me an example of how you've successfully managed multiple tasks or projects at once? You want to be able to understand their organization. That's very important for sure. Organization and communication, how they communicate and how well structured they are. Tell me about the time and problem that came up at work, but you can reach out to your manager. How do you handle it? This is a specific question that you want to understand how they behave in certain things. Client and team compatibility. So what does your ideal client look like? What does your ideal employer look like, right? Tell me more about the past client you love working with or the past employer. What do you like about their personality, their management style, their work expectations? Now, tell me more about difficult client feedback. And so these are questions that you can actually use and ask. Now, I do like this sales screening process right here. This will help you a lot. Now, try to keep it conversational, obviously. So we go over here, team compatibility, cultural fit questions. Again, core value-based questions. Feedback and adaptability. You want people that are adaptable and can take feedback. Skills. So if you had to guess, what do you think you're better at than the other candidates I'm interviewing? What's your superpower? If you receive multiple job offers at once, what would be the 2 most important factors in your decision-making process? A question that I like to ask about ultimately weaknesses right in here. So for example, what aspects of the work you find least enjoyable? I like to ask this question: why should I not hire you? Right? Why should I not hire you? It's kind of like a reverse psychology, but they should tell me why you should not. If they are coming in here, oh, you should absolutely hire me, or like why should you not hire me if you don't want the best results? Well, yeah, I mean, like that they can answer that, but that's not going to get to the weakness. We really want to get what are their flaws and think like asking questions like, well, if I were to hire you, then a few weeks, down the line, I figure out something out about you. What is I need to know right now? What do usually people actually find out that, not everyone actually connects with? Or not everyone really like. They should give you some more of an answer about the weakness. And then ultimately, final questions and salary, go over the pay rate, go over ultimately when can they start and so on. You can also address that at the very beginning so that you guys don't waste time. If, pay rate is so off or like time frame of start is so off, you can ultimately address that at the beginning. That's why I like this right here. So here, for example, are they a logistical fit, right? So how many hours are you willing to put in? How much money are you looking to make? How much are you making right now? Like, how do they, do they have this experience? Like, when are they looking to actually start working and so on? Can they work full time? So I like this screening interview style, but I don't want to go over this one right here because it's already way too long of the video. And then you close the interview. Great. These are all the questions that I have. We're interviewing a few more candidates and we'll make a decision by whatever. In here, there's a hiring questions starter pack that this is going to help you a lot. So this hiring questions starter pack talks about a few rounds, and you can make it in one meeting, especially for roles like this. Round one is culture. You can make it the first 30 minutes or the first 15, 25 minutes. Round two is skill set. And then that could last, you can role play, you can ask about skill set questions, and then quality control. You want to have another meeting, like just to make sure that like you're protecting really your company, right? And then at the end of the day, you can also do deep filtering by doing a skill test to specific people and so on. This is in the hiring questions starter pack, and I completely stole this from a great woman in operations called Jana Lee. All right. So you ultimately interview people and then you start giving out test assignments. So what are these test assignments? Interviews alone don't show competency. So assign a paid test task. You can pay them for this task, or they can do it for them. They can do it right there and there, or they can actually just do it for free, which is part of the process. So you can give them 10 cold calls to make a sample seller list. So that could be in front of you with the cameras turned off, whatever, like you can just listen. They can ultimately also record themselves in a Loom. Just choose a specific test, a skill test that the specific role that you're hiring for, it's going to fit. You can ask ChatGPT about this, but we've made people, executive assistants ultimately do different type of tests that are about organization structure, organize the script, or like organize me, modify my calendar to make sure that my calendar actually does make sense as a CEO, for example, or appointment setting, like make sure that you go over this script with me. Let's do role playing. Ultimately, show me how you do a discovery call. You can do this right here. Give them a sample of a list of cold calls. Maybe they can do cold call in front of you or within a Loom video. Provide a script and role play scenarios. Set a firm deadline. So let's say I expect this within 48 hours, right? Or 24 hours. And they should be able to do it. Make sure that the test actually does make sense, that it's doable. If you make it way too hard, like it's going to be harder for them to make. For example, if we want a developer, test should be hard enough, all right? Because like we're going to be paying this person way more. The more money that you're going to pay for this person, the harder the test you should do. I remember some roles, some jobs used to ask me for 2 different tests, and that's totally okay. But for a virtual assistant or like, for example, a cold caller, it's okay if only do one. Always do a test assignment. Ask them to record the calls and track their hours. Pay them for their time, or if it is part of the process, do that. Review the efficiency, accuracy, and communication. Now, if you do have a lot of potential prospects, right, candidates, you don't have to pay them. It's just part of the interview process about doing a test. Only if you believe that it's the right thing, you can pay them at a reduced salary. So for example, 50% of the hourly rate, or just a specific amount for the test. What to look for in their work. Do they follow the script but sound naturally? How do they handle objections? Do they pre-qualify sellers correctly? How confident and clear was their communication? So since this is a paid test, you must hire them on remotelatinos.com to ultimately complete it. Or for example, Upwork, whatever these other platforms. Step 8 is going to be deciding. So now that you have interviewed and tested your candidates, it's time to choose the best virtual assistant for your wholesale real estate business. Ideally, you should be selecting from 3 to 5. Shouldn't be too many, honestly. The least, the better. So
These people have gone through a full evaluation process to make the decision. But in order to get to 3 to 5, you have to go through more, right? So think about it long term and who fits the best into your company's culture and workflow. Sometimes some people, what they do is they hire two at the same time and you make them compete. Maybe sometimes you keep both at the same time, right? And they go through a probation period of about 90 days, but the ramp up process, it could be the first 2 to 4 weeks. All right. So you're going to understand whether they're a good player or not in the first month. You're going to understand that real quick. Okay. Even though they still need to adapt or like learn skills or knowledge and so on. Key questions to ask yourself: will I enjoy working with this person? Can I offload more work to them long term? Let's say, can they grow within the company? That's important. Like, I hired one of a virtual assistant back in 2020, and that person grew. Now it's getting paid really well. And that person grew within my company, does a lot of complex stuff in systems and projects and so on. Did they follow my instruction properly during the test? Are they diligent and efficient? Based on their interview answers, do they seem like a great fit? You have to ask yourself these questions, right? Pro tip: always have a backup choice in case your first pick declines the offer, because it happens that people are also looking at a job, and if you're not too quickly, a speed is king here. If you're not too quickly, they're going to be snatched. That's just going to happen. Don't inform the losing candidates until you've officially onboarded the winner, because see what happens, right? Step 9, obviously offer the job. Once you've made a decision, send the winning candidate a job offer. That could be from an email. So email could be something like this. This is a template. Congrats, we want to bring you on board. Hey, I have great news. We'd love to have you join our team for the long term. Before you say yes, I want you to take 24 hours to think it through. I want you to take 24 hours to think it through to make sure that this is the right role for you. Your initial responsibilities are this and this and that. Pay date is this and that. Eventually, we plan to transition this role to a fixed salary once we understand the workload better. We can discuss this in a month or two, or just keep, hourly rate. You ultimately want to be able to, here's a bonus, all right? So here's bonus. You want to be able to track people. Track people using Hopstuff or Time Doctor. These are the best ones to actually keep track of their hours and just pay them, because you're going to be able to know exactly how much they actually worked. Okay. Send a legal agreement. So legal agreement is something you can put together in ChatGPT. Make sure that it's legal as possible. I may be able to give you an agreement as a template, but anyways, once your VA accepts the job offer, it's time to make things official by sending a contract. How to send the legal agreement? Use DocuSign, PanDoc, or another e-signature service. Email the VA the contract for an official signature. Once signed, save it in your records. Make it look as legit as possible, all right? Because this person needs to feel they're coming in here to a real company, all right? Once signed, save it in your records. Template link. I'm going to leave the template link in here after this. Step 12, sending the remotelatinos.com job offer. So now create a formal job offer on remotelatinos.com. Send it to your VA within the platform. And for the first 1 or 2 months, I highly recommend paying through Wise or Deal.com. All right, I can leave a link to Deal.com that gives you a discount in the description. Or Wise.com, I'll also give you a link that gives you a credit or some sort of money. To ensure that smooth transactions, track performance, and maintain flexibility in case adjustments need to be made. If we end up creating like a payment platform within the platform itself, or like, let's say it's Upwork that has its own payment platform, use that one. If not, Wise.com or Deal.com is excellent. All right. Again, there's a link in the description. Step 13, transitioning from hourly to salary. So salarying your VAs, it might be important, especially if you already know exactly the amount of hours, you're tracking the hours still, and just salarying them. Track VAs using Hubstaff or Time Doctor. Once your VA proves their value after 2 months, you should move them to hourly work to a fixed salary. And you still be able to track their hours. And this is to make sure that have P&Ls set and ready. How to structure a VA salary negotiation. Track the workload. So determine how many hours per week they actually are working. Have Hubstaff, Time Doctor actually help you. Set performance-based pay, so offer a fixed salary based on results, not just time. So for example, cold calling or lead managers, you can have a base salary and then performance-based with commissions, right? Based on sales that they actually help from leads that are generated or ultimately qualified. Same thing for closers, leads that are actually closed, right? So it's going to be based on always deals done revenue. So for example, if you successfully complete 100 cold calls, generate 10 warm leads weekly, you get paid whatever per month. Incentivize efficiency. Reward them based on leads generated, appointments set, and consistent closes. All right. I like this one the best because you tie down the results with their performance. Transition pay method. Move from Wise or PayPal to a lower fees or easier management. There's deal.com that you can do. And congratulations, you've now recruited a rockstar virtual assistant or offshore employee for your wholesaling real estate business. And your VA is now trained and ready to help you scale your wholesaling business by managing cold calls, lead generation, and CRM organization. This can apply to many different roles, guys. And here's one thing. Have training for them as soon as they come in. Have an onboarding process, and I'm going to give you a mini course right in here that is going to teach you exactly how to do that. We go over that in detail, and different templates are going to be given to you. It's very important that they actually feel they're coming to a really good company, not just they're coming in here and there's dust. The onboarding process is going to determine how long these people are going to stay in your company. If you have no onboarding process, you don't know what to do in day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, first 30 days, first 90 days, they're going to come in and they're going to be like, what the hell is this? What did it come for? Like, this is just a startup that has one person and like, I feel not confident, or like, there's nothing going on. Like, how am I going to be successful here? And they're probably going to be like, I'm going to stay here for just a couple of weeks until I find something else. You don't want that, right? So have playbooks, SOPs, an onboarding process, training schedule, morning huddles, and I'm going to cover all of that in the mini course as well. And I have in this YouTube channel, you should be able to actually check out different videos that talk about this, all right? Again, go to app.remotelaatinos.com to find your people and then access the mini course that is a link right in here. All right, so next steps. Set up weekly performance check-ins with these people, one-on-one. Have daily huddles, ultimately. Ensure that your VA tracks KPIs, calls, appointments, lead generated on spreadsheets. This is another animal. I'm not going to cover that in here. Continue refining their training to maximize results. Make sure that you give them qualitative feedback, track their numbers, you train them, and so on. So access the mini course right in here. It's also in the description below. Create your core values, mission, and vision if not yet. Create perfect job descriptions, post the job in different boards, reach out to potential candidates and invite them to the job. Interview the best, go through 10 to 20 applicants to find top 3 and choose 1 or 2 to hire. Hope that you like this video. It was kind of long, but hey, this is going to be very worth it because this is how you build out your remote team, saving 70 to 80% of payroll. And you're going to be able to scale, have higher margins, and work with really, really good people that are extremely loyal. All right. I'm Colombian, and look, if you like this video, just hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, check out these other videos in here. Go to remotelatinos.com. And if you're a wholesaler and you need motivated seller leads, there's a link in the description below that helps you generate more leads. All right, so if you like this, again, share it with people, and I'll see you in the next side.